Hi, and welcome to Newswire LA. I'm your host, Chen Thomasangsi. Today we're back and we're going to conclude our exclusive interview with Councilman Bernard Parks. After that, we're going to head a few miles southwest of our current location. That's where we'll find Newswire LA's Trisha Mitchell, who is actually attending a fundraiser for Assemblyman Mike Davis. All of that and more after this. Let's go back to the district offices of Councilman Bernard Parks. That's where we'll find Newswire LA's Jamie Wright.
We also have been told that Ralph's will redo their store completely on Manchester and Western. Now, we're declared a food desert in our area because we have a lack of grocery stores. Over the next 2 years, we may lose 3 grocery stores. We've already been advised that King and Western will close down. Superior over in the University Park area will be closed down due to a construction project. And then when they start rebuilding the store on Western, they'll tear that one down. So we will have even less access to groceries for a while until at least 2 projects are built. And we hope that Western and King will bring in another grocery store to replace Ralph. So we're doing a lot of things on the health issue. Plus, we do a lot of support at our schools about healthy food. So it's a matter of a combination of things. But we think you attack the obesity and the food issue, or the high blood pressure issue, on a variety of health, the exercise, access to food, fresh farmers markets, the fresh food at our markets. That's the kind of things we've done about healthy choices.
Okay. Transition again a little bit into the Coliseum. Last week there was an 8-to-1 vote to transfer basically the ownership of the Coliseum to the University of Southern California, you being the lone opposing vote.
That's true.
In light of the fact that the Coliseum is facing, extreme financial straits, can you just talk about your decision to vote against the transfer? Well,
the thing is this: I think there are some major financial issues, and most of them are man-made. The Coliseum has not been managed well. The issue is that there were some employees that took advantage of a situation and cost the Coliseum even more money. But then the Coliseum did not actively participate in bringing revenue into its facility to make it available and make it viable. But even, and again, I've not disagreed in the fact that the lease currently should be, give SC more expanded duties. What I'm concerned about is to give SC a blanket access to the facility, to where at the demise of the community's involvement is where I disagree. I don't think we should give a public facility that has been built in honor of World War I veterans to a private institution in which they can determine who gets to use it, how often they get to use it, they get to name it, they get to name every seat in the building that is exclusive revenue to them. They get to even manage any of the movies that may be made. These are things that I think, without any regard of a community benefit, that says now that they're going to create all this revenue from this facility, to not set up revenue sharing for the community, in my judgment, is a bad policy. And so, again, it's no doubt that we should share responsibility, and because they are currently the sole major tenant. But I don't think the community gets excluded and give a private organization the ability to say, you run it 365 days and they're going to be benevolent enough to give the community 8 event days in a year. those things, and then even to show you where they're headed with it, as part of the contract, they actually put in it that the Coliseum Commission, which currently runs the Coliseum, if this deal goes through, the Coliseum Commission must give them 24-hour notice if they want to come on the premise. Now, I think that is just mind-boggling that we would agree to those kinds of limitations when this is a public facility.
You are a strong advocate for your district. You are also a very outspoken voice. In light of the fact that you've had such a long public career, we know that elected office does not last forever.
That's true.
So for the next person that comes into the council seat, what would you like to see them do in terms of leadership for CDA?
Well, I think there's several things. One of the things we found when I got in office, and I couldn't believe it at first, people said to me, they came and they said, we have no community events whatsoever. We have nothing. And I said, no, you got to have some community events. And we found there was nothing. So we've created the 4th of July fireworks show, a 4th of July jazz festival, a festival after the Martin Luther King parade. We've created a program for every one of our schools, which we call the STAR program. We've created those kind of things to give the public a sense that they can come and enjoy their community and benefit from it. We've been a founding member of the Taste of Soul. Last year, I think it was 200,000 people that showed up on Crenshaw. These are the kind of things that I think the community wants, and they're all free. We've developed a relationship with KJLF Radio so that they, as radio free, they are our partners on most everything. On our Christmas giveaway, we give away about 3,000 gifts every year. We light up the entire park at Lamert Park every year. These are things that the community has enjoyed and says, we don't know why we've never had that before. So we would want somebody to be in office that understands the community and a willingness to work at putting programs together. We'd also want somebody to be in office that understands there's a balance in how we develop the community. The community's input is important, but we also got to attract people that are willing to invest, and we need to find a way to ensure that they're not inhibited by unnecessary community or red tape by the city. So we need somebody that understands how development goes. And I think we also need to make sure that we get the kind of services that the community wants. It's no reason for our community to have to, before Staples came in, they'd have to drive to El Segundo or the marina to get a TV or a computer. They have to go over to the bridge or to the Fox Hills to buy certain things they need from a retail store. These are things that they've been asking for. There's no reason why you got to go to Sepulveda to find a bed and bath and beyond. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of things that they ask for. What we find in our community, although much of our community is poor, their disposable money is significant because most poor people don't save their money. So they're spending it, and they will spend it wherever you give them the amenity. What we found when Nike store moved out of Crenshaw Shopping Center, our community didn't stop buying Nike. The Nike store moved because they found out that many of their customers came from our zip codes and went on Wilshire Boulevard. And they said, why do we need a store in Crenshaw if most of your community is coming on Wilshire Boulevard? So our community spends money. It's a matter of bringing the services that they need. And I would hope that the person that comes in has some independence, because you can be in a situation to where many of the council members feel that they can't express their view because they must rely on a special interest group to keep them in office. There's got to be some independence, and you got to be willing to be the one vote against something that's wrong. To be there and just get steamrolled by SC and say, okay, just give it to them because it's easier. To be there yesterday in council and say, let's vote on making everybody that shops in the city have to have a multi-use bag, and never think about the bacteria and the health concerns of using a bag over and over with blood and meat and fish, and what does that do in the sense of, particularly in a community that has minimal access to health care. Those are the reasons that you need independence to say, no, that's wrong, and continue to show people why it's wrong. Redistricting, you need somebody to stand up and say, what you did was wrong. Not only was it wrong, you disenfranchised several 100,000 people, and we're going to do something about it. The community benefits from seeing that people fight for their concerns, and they appreciate it. And that's what you need, somebody that has that independence.
Okay. You're not out of office until 2015.
2015.
What are your plans for this district over the next 2.5 years?
My plans are, we have a number of things in the queue. We want to get Manchester and Vermont finished in development. We want to make sure that the projects that we have in place, such as our tree lighting, our Christmas giveaway, those things continue. We want to make sure that our parks and libraries are continually maintained. Those are the things I think are important. All of those free services the community rely on. And we want to make sure that some of these vacant lots that are in the district, we can get them developed either for senior housing or a variety of housing. The one thing that's been unfortunate in our district over the years, for whatever reason, we were the dumping ground for only one type of housing. If they're going to build the lowest level affordable housing, it came to our district. We didn't get market rate housing. And what that hurts us is that with market rate housing, we get something called Quimby funds that helps us develop and enhance our parks. Mm-hmm. You don't get that for low cost housing. And so these are things that we have to look at. How do we bring revenue into our community that benefits us from the long term? How do we get art fees by getting certain projects? That's the only way that you can survive in bringing and leveraging money so that you can bring amenities to the community. And it's going to be tougher in the next 2.5 years because CRA is gone, empowerment zones are gone, enterprise zones are gone. So you're going to have to get more leverage from developers that are using their money. In years past, most developers wouldn't come to South LA unless they were able to get what they call a gap money from the city's block grant or some form of funding. Those funds are drying up or diminishing. So you're going to have to get developers willing to spend their money and also to do things without a gap. And therefore, there's less incentives, but you're going to have to get some people to convince them that this is the place that is viable to develop in. So that's what I'm going to spend my next 2.5, 3 years. We're not counting, but in July 1st, we'll be down to 36 months. And we're going to use every one of those days to bring a benefit to the city.
Okay. And as sort of a takeaway, we live in a reality TV society where you get to know people, business leaders, entertainers, whoever you feel is your role model, sort of by, the spiel that they give on television. If there was one thing that you would want the media to portray about you that maybe people don't know, I don't know if there's a sensitive side of you or whatever it is, what would that thing be?
What's most important for me is that people portray, or anyone portray, that whether you agree with you or not, they can disagree with your decisions. They need to always ensure that clearly that you are, from the base, honest in what you do. You can survive people disagreeing on your decision. You can't survive if you're disingenuous or dishonest. So the issue of honesty and integrity is foremost in my mind. And so again, I tell people all the time, disagree with what I do. We can understand, we can argue, we can back and forth, but you can never come back and say Bernard Parks has been dishonest.
Okay. Thank you for your time, Councilmember Parks.
Thank you very much.
That's it for this edition of Newswire LA. We thank you for joining us. To keep up with everything Newswire LA, look us up on Facebook and Twitter at Newswire LA. That's it for all of us, and we thank you for joining us. I'm Chin Thomas-Sangsi, your host, saying so long, and we'll see you back here next time.